Just wondering too, what other concerns do you have? I mean, you've talked about how our currency is still not up to, our forex earnings is still not up to par, but you've also countered that by saying that at some point when the expected investment begins to kick in, then maybe there will be an improved forex earnings, which seems to balance out, what exactly the federal government is expecting will happen. What other concerns do you share in terms of China's involvement with Nigeria?
Okay. China has been around as far back as the Roman Empire. The China you know today has been around for the past 3,000 years. You understand? So, and for an empire to exist, whether it is a communist or the old empire for 3,000 years, it means they are not joking, they are not playing. So my concern with our agreements with China is, do we have the strength to do the work that we need to do to be able to extract benefit? When I say that China has been around for 3,000 years, for their president to invite our own president, it means that they have given a lot of thought to what they want to gain by that meeting. My concern is, I hope that we will also do sufficient work to be able to extract the values we are supposed to extract from the relationship. Because China is not the Salvation Army. There is no charity in international relationships. It is interest. And the Chinese will protect their own interest. We must stand firm and do the work that needs to be done to protect our own interest. That's my concern. We must be ready and see where our interest is and extract it.
What are some of those things that you want to be seeing now? Because I recall that, yes, yesterday Mazi Samuel Hamwa was here as well, and he also shared his concerns. I mean, he was talking about how China also uses this to send out jobs from China. You see a lot of Chinese people here working, doing jobs that Nigerians can do. What are some of the things that you want to see on the part of the federal government which will show that it's actually willing to extract the most from this relationship?
Okay. Before I go into that, there are several aspects of this trip to China. There is the government-to-government relationship, which involves the swap of the currency and the loan, which we are supposed to take, which the government now says they didn't sign any loan agreement at all.
Still in negotiation, they say.
Well, okay.
Some of them.
They're still doing the negotiations. Then there is the investments. So let me talk about the investments, because I think that's where the major issue is. These investments, what kind of investment are they? Are they turnkey investment where they come build stuff for us and then we pay them over time? Or are they bringing their own money to invest here? Like, take for example, when the Japanese had a lot of money, they had so much money that the Japanese bought the Rockefeller Center. Do you understand? So, is the Chinese coming to build and own the solar power station in Shiroro? Or are they building it for us? Do you understand? If they are going to own it and supply us power and we buy the power, that's okay. Because
I think that's what the Minister of Science and Tech said yesterday, that will also help us, give us the capacity. We have to put in place capacity to be able to manufacture some of those concerns as well as export.
Yes, we have to have the capacity, but we also have to be ready to get it out from them.
And not wait for it to be
transferred. And not wait for them to give it to us, no. If we wait for them to give it to us, it will not happen.
Do you have a way or ways by which we can take that kind of knowledge and harness it?
Well, I mean, I'm not an expert in technology. The minister is.
Because what I'm asking, I got my mind already on the local content law existing in Nigeria. Perhaps if we bring that on the board and say, whatever you do, there's this amount of percentage that must come to Nigeria, Nigeria's involvement in it, perhaps that could as well mean some kind of development.
Suleiman, you know, let's take local content. In the oil and gas industry, there's local content, okay? So, what that local content says is you have to get Nigerian involvement. So, in terms of shipping, instead of getting foreign ship owners, you have Nigerians go abroad, go to Singapore or somewhere, build ship, own the ship, and then supply the same ship to the oil companies. So that is local content. But that's peripheral local content, because the ship is still built in Singapore. It's not built in Lagos. It's not built in Snake Island. You understand? Probably most of the people who even captain the ship are still Oyibo. They are not local. You know, so, I mean, local content should be taken beyond. I mean, having Nigerians own the business is the beginning. But local content must also ensure that we deliberately train our people to acquire the knowledge. And the acquisition of knowledge is not something that is easy. My major concern is that we, Nigerians, have gotten so used to easy everything that we don't want to put in the required input of time, intellect, energy to acquire the necessary skills that will get these things done.
I'm happy we're
and
talking about
that's the
this.
problem.
Because now that we're talking about this, this is the more reason that the government must explain to the people the content of this deal.
I agree. I agree with you.
Because if it doesn't,
they will explain the content and also explain what investment each and every one of us as individuals, as citizens, will have to make.
And that will help us all key into
it. Key into it and say, okay, this is where we're going. You know. The work that is required to make this country great is our work. There is no angel that is going to drop from heaven to come and do it for us. And the work is enormous.
It won't be out of place if, I don't know if they had that conversation in the government circles, so they can have a uniformity of purpose. For instance, this local content law, if they could also see how do they let other agencies of government have that kind of framework in their ministries such that they can extract that required knowledge from this investment.
It's difficult, but I think that where we are, we don't have a choice than to do that. You will find out that if you are in an appointed position, there are a lot of balls you have to juggle in the air, right? So you have to protect your seat because a lot of people are looking at your seat. So sometimes you do things that protects your empire before you start thinking about synergy between my department, your department, and her department. But it's something that we need to do because without uniformity of purpose, we can't go anywhere. It will just be like, you know, during the last administration, I think NNPC signed an agreement with the Chinese, $23 billion to build refineries and all that, you know. But I'm not sure that the thing got off the ground. Why? I don't know. But did we put in the work that is required before we sign the agreement? It's not just a question of you go, you say, sign here, you sign here. No. You understand? There's a lot of work that needs to be done at the background before you do the photo op and sign the agreement. There will be a lot of technocrats working behind, producing, querying these things, analyzing before that small sheet of paper that the big boss is going to sign. You know, and we trust that those things are being done and that they are being done across, you know, inter-ministerial and inter-agency, so that we'll have a unified purpose, because that's what it is all about, the Nigerian nation.
It's almost 1 week now. How long more do you think the government needs to come out clean on this with proper explanation, detailed explanation?
Well, I think the government has come out already, because there's this summary of the the 6 billion additional investment that are supposed to come in. But we also have to interrogate those, agreements. Take, for example, the $1 billion Greenfield Expressway from Abuja to Ibadan to Lagos. Greenfield means that they are going to build that expressway from the beginning to the end. Is it a BOT transaction? Is it going to be told? Who is going to own the expressway? Will 1 billion be enough to build an expressway from Abuja to Ibadan to Lagos? And it's Greenfield. Greenfield means that it's going to start from the scratch. It's not going to consider the fact that there are already other existing roads. You understand what I'm saying?
All right, so that's where we're anchored this morning. Anogwi Anyanwu is the CEO, Mindshield Limited, and former executive director at Mainstream Bank. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you, Sam.
All right, let's just a minute. Let's go on to Ayotunde Balogun. He's got another look at the headlines for us now.